General, Honorable Davis Muila, unveils adopted candidates for the Copperbelt province, the political tension among those who wish to be adopted is getting very, very tense. BWANA MUKUBWA is one of the most critical and competitive constituency within the Patriotic Front adoption process, with two political giants wanting to grab the seat. The incumbent, Dr. Jonas Chanda, who is seeking re-adoption, and his main rival, long-time serving member of the Patriotic Front, Chisha Mwambazi, is one of the people that also is trying to grab this particular seat. Tonight on the program, I speak to PF aspiring BWANA MUKUBWA Member of Parliament, that is Chisha Mwambazi, as we explore the constituency of BWANA MUKUBWA and hear his solutions that he's presenting on the table for the people of BWANA MUKUBWA. He's my guest again on tonight's edition of the assignment program. Mr. Mwambazi, good evening once again, and welcome to this edition of the assignment program.
Thank you, Andrew, and good evening. Good evening, viewers out there. I'm glad to be back here to discuss a few issues with you. Although I came rushing, but thank God we've made it in time.
I'm pretty sure you're from the Copperbelt, you know, for your meetings and.
Yes, I was guest of honor at Bethel UCZ Church in Mushili, where we were doing a farewell for the Reverend there, Maria Banda Kamekela, who is going to Nchanga UCZ, and we received Reverend Lamek Goma, so they had invited me as guest of honor. So that's why I was worshiping this morning.
We welcome you, and looking forward to have a very, amazing conversation with you. All right, so those joining the conversation on the Muvi TV Plus, Bouquet, Channel 1, the Top Star, Decoder Channel 104 later on, we'll give you an opportunity to come through and, give us your comments regarding the topic we're looking at tonight. We're looking at who will grab BWANA MUKUBWA constituency. Yet those that are joining the conversation from across the continent of Africa, you're joining the conversation on the Muvi TV, on the Ask Muvi TV fan page. That is on Facebook, as well as Ask Muvi TV on YouTube. You can still get to those two particular platforms and give us your contributions regarding the topic we have on the table tonight. Now, before we can get to the nitty-gritties of our conversation tonight, Mr. Mwambazi, let's get to have a brief understanding of how well you know the constituency of BWANA MUKUBWA.
Thank you, Andrew. Basically, Andrew, I was born and bred in BWANA MUKUBWA constituency. I come from an area called Curve. Curve is a ward in the BWANA MUKUBWA constituency. I did my primary there from 1984 until 1990, when I further proceeded to Chiwala Secondary School. So I'm well vested with the area. I know the challenges of the people of BWANA MUKUBWA. I was born there, and I did my primary school there from the 80s to the 90s, and eventually my secondary school. So I know the area very well. I know the corners of BWANA MUKUBWA constituency per se, because that's where I was born, and that's where I grew up as a teenager, as a young man. So I know there's a peri-urban and the town area, where usually I'm coming from a peri-urban area called Fatima. It's more or less predominantly a farming area. My parents I've got a farm there. We've got a family house where I was born and where I did my primary. So in a short analysis of BWANA MUKUBWA, I basically hail from there, and I know how the setup of the constituency, the challenges of the constituency, having been running around there as a young man in those farms, playing football, going to the farms even to do pieceworks for us to get some books when I was at the primary school. So I know the area very well, and I know the challenges very well.
Let's speak about your political journey and your decision also to contest as member of parliament for BWANA MUKUBWA. Speak to us, speak in that area about how your political journey has been. Are you just surfacing, for the very first time to want to contest this particular seat? No,
Andrew, I've been in BWANA MUKUBWA, like I've said, having born there and having done my primary and secondary school there. My political journey for BWANA MUKUBWA constituency comes as far as 2006, because 2006, that's when were thinking of going back, having completed my ACCA from ZICAS, and we started contemplating how do we go back to save the people of BWANA MUKUBWA. But suffice to that point, we're busy with careers, and I think from that I was in the private sector. I joined the government, the Minister of Finance, and eventually I was transferred to the Ministry of Defense, Office of the Auditor General. And eventually in 2014, I said, let me now go full-time and pursue my political career. That's when I went back to BWANA MUKUBWA to see how best I could help our people with some of those challenges. So from 2014, beginning of 2015, I resigned from government, and I went now full-fledged into politics, into BWANA MUKUBWA. So from 2015, eventually I aspired in 2016, and I was not adopted. However, I did not relent or go elsewhere, but I said, let me see how I can save the people and also continue interacting and helping the constituency. So from 2015, I've been in BWANA MUKUBWA. It's not the first time I'm aspiring for the constituency. This is my second time. And from 2015 up to 2016 and up to today, we've continued to engage the people of BWANA MUKUBWA and see how well they can be represented as well as saved, and as well as to mitigate some of the challenges which the community have been going through. So this is basically my journey.
One of the most consistent questions that we get every time we have you is that that man is quite educated. He left a very comfortable job in the civil service to join politics. What is it that you followed in politics?
For me, Andrew, is a desire to save the people of BWANA MUKUBWA, because you don't forget where you're coming from. Even if I had a comfortable job, a comfortable lifestyle, I said, let me go back to the people, because there are my brothers and sisters there. There are people who are going through what I went through as a child in BWANA MUKUBWA. So I thought best, let me go back, engage the community, and see how we can tap even some of the talent from the constituents, some of the young people there who can afford to pay for school fees. Very brilliant people. How do we tap in and ensure that we help such people, and so that they can become like some of us in the society and save the society better? So those are some of the issues, Andrew, which I think prompted me. Even myself, I don't come from a rich family, but I just come from a comfortable family. But my childhood, as well as my primary and secondary school, it was a struggle, because my parents retired. My father was a banker. My mom was just a housewife. Then we went to the farms now, typical farms. Then, because I'm almost last in the family, like a last born, so now the issues of how do you make sure that you continue being in school, but you know the way we're living way back, there's extended family, they'll give you a coin here, you struggle, they chase you out of school at Chiwala, you can't afford, because I remember, I think last time we were paying school fees were about 5,800, inclusive of boarding fees, but at times we couldn't even manage to pay those fees. So having passed through that process and seen how even the Catholics would help us to ensure that we are in school and we perform well, I think those are some of the issues which kept prompting me to see how is it that we can help some of the young men in the community, be it livelihood skills, be it mitigating on their school fees and ensuring that they are in school. Because imitikula empanga, if we can empower those kids, then we are changing the lifestyle of their parents and their families.
But you've been serving the people of BWANA MUKUBWA, even in your individual capacity. You run a foundation called the Chisha Mwambazi Foundation.
Leaving No One Behind Foundation.
Of course, Leaving No One Behind Foundation, rather, that helps, helps the community. Is it only in the sphere of politics that you can serve the people? Because you've already been serving the people, of BWANA MUKUBWA. What is it about politics, that wants you to get into it? Because even you earlier spoke about your desire to serve the people. You've already been doing that. Why get into the sphere of politics for you to do what you're already doing?
Basically, Andrew, I come from a political family. My dad was in politics. My dad was vividly very active during Chiluba era, and my grandfather. That's been our trajectory. Yes, I'm saving people through the foundation, but I've got a political desire in me which prompted me to say, let me go back and see how I can save my people through this avenue, not only through the foundation. Yes, we are saving them through the foundation, but I've got a political ambition, and that's what eventually prompted me. We are not going to, the foundation has been in existence for over 3 years, Andrew, and we are not going to stop that, because that's a vehicle, that's a channel in which we will use, continue using to ensure that we engage the people of BWANA MUKUBWA, even from the political lines. But if you look at these two vehicles, one has got a bit of limitations, and one you can do what you want to do because it's a foundation. I'm not the sole owner of that foundation. I'm just a CEO. Tomorrow they will have another CEO. I'll just maybe be a board member, but to ensure that we push in and engage the people of BWANA MUKUBWA, empower the people of BWANA MUKUBWA. Because as I speak, the foundation is currently sponsoring about 6 students at the Copperbelt University. One is at Robert Makasa University, and those are being sponsored by the foundation.
Could it be a calculated move that you knew that you are going to participate in the 2021 general elections? Perhaps that could have prompted the formation of the foundation.
No, Andrew, I participated in 2016. Why didn't I come up with the foundation in 2016? But for us is, if you look at my background, I was helped so much by the Catholics, by the sisters there, by the fathers. They paid some of my school fees. Now, my paying back, because if you look at the same fathers, the same Catholics, we've partnered and we are helping them through the foundation. So for me also is to pay back to the community where I pass through, because they've got a part of me, how they helped me. So it's not that we calculated and said, no, 2021 is coming. We could have continued engaging the people, even through normal politics and helping them donating. But we thought we needed an autonomous vehicle to use, and which will continue, because a lot of people have asked me, there's this Leaving No One Behind Foundation, is it for politics? Are we going to see it one day? Even I think last time I appeared here, I was questioned, say, come maybe 2021, it will be no more. For us, it's a well-structured foundation. We've got our board of directors, we've got our funders, who from time to time give us a funding to ensure that we carry out the programs according to our strategic plan as a foundation.
I do know for a fact that primaries are done. Now you're just waiting for, for either of the name to be announced, whether you or the incumbent, that is Dr. Jonas Chanda, to be announced as adopted candidate for BWANA MUKUBWA. But how would you describe the adoption process thus far to the level where it is now? Because only the Central Committee now is the last stage where
yes,
your names will be announced. How would you describe how the adoption process has been so far?
Andrew, this process has been very transparent compared to the 2016 one, because we're all alive to the fact that we've seen how, first and foremost, remember, in 2016 we had some of our leaders who were in positions, let's say provincial or district, who were aspiring, and this time they were told to step aside, to take leave, and ensure that the process is managed by those who are not aspiring. So there is no, if I've got, for instance, I'm aspiring, okay, and I'm a provincial chairman, I'll be told to step aside and leave others who are not aspiring, to ensure that there's transparency. And for us, and I think for me, I'm very thankful to our leadership, especially to the Secretary General of the party, as well as the President of the party, for this which they've done. Let's come to Central Committee as well. You find that if, for example, like today, they were doing selection for Luapula province. All the members of the Central Committee from Luapula, they were told to take leave and not come for the meeting. Then the others will sit and deliberate. So there's no conniving, there's nothing like that. So I'm very, very grateful to our party supreme organ, which is the Central Committee, as well as our party president, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, that there's been this transparency, because I think as a party we are moving forward and we can see the roadmap of democracy, because we've seen how these things have been handled. And just to correct you, tomorrow, as they sit on Wednesday, we have 3 aspiring candidates for BWANA MUKUBWA, not only 2. There's Honorable Dr. Jonas Chanda, there's myself, and there's another gentleman called Benjamin Dumba. So there's 3 of us who did aspire and did all the interviews from the constituency to the provincial level. So there's 3 of us. So anyone can be picked.
Anyone can be picked.
Yes.
You're in a very huge predicament. I don't know for a fact that you stated clearly that members of the Central Committee who are aspiring, have no hand in any way in trying to manipulate, what the outcome of the adoption process is like. But then yours is a bit heavy, because the incumbent is a member of the Central Committee, is also a full cabinet minister, and what we've been hearing thus far is that the likelihood that members of the Central Committee will be left out of the adoption process is a bit slim. How do you look at your chances, Mr. Mwambazi, of unseating this political heavyweight in the name of Dr. Jonas Chanda?
Like I've already alluded to, Andrew, we've seen already there's a precedence in Muchinga, there's precedence in other provinces where members of the Central Committee have been left out. We had Honorable Sylvia Chalikosa, who's been left out. She's a member of the Central Committee, as well as she was a Minister of Works and Supply. So I think, like I've said, we've seen transparency, and they're not looking at the face. They're looking at who's on the ground, who can make sure that we garner maximum presidential votes for the president. I think that's what is at play. The 2021 general election is not a joke. We need to put our hands together and ensure that we adopt people who are popular on the ground and who can give us maximum votes. And I believe that's what's happening. If you see how, like today, I'll still cite an example of Luapula. There are 14 constituencies, and only, I think, 7 have retained their seats, and 7 are newcomers. Yesterday we had Northern Province. I think 5 retained their positions, and 8 were newcomers. So we've seen the trajectory that they are looking at the popular candidate. They are not looking at faces. They are not looking at positions. This is how transparent our party is. So all we can say is we are just going to wait and see. We believe in the process. We've seen what's happening. And then let the best candidate be adopted by the end of the day to ensure that we retain BWANA MUKUBWA constituency seat.
From where you sit, what would you say is your comparative advantage as, Warren Chisha Mwambazi, among the 3 people that you're going against?
Andrew, like I've already said, I have been engaging the people of BWANA MUKUBWA, not only starting from now, not only from yesterday, but I've been with the people as far as from 2015. And I've continued, I've not disappeared. There are people who go to constituencies at the last minute. There are people who are absentee MPs. There are people who want to do microwave politics, where they come in today and launch 1,000 things. But politics is not like that. Politics is a journey. It's how you've cultivated, how you've engaged with the people, how you've been with the people. But if you want to go in a constituency today and do a lot of programs today, you launch a lot of 1x3 classroom, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. That's not politics. Politics, people have to have a belief. You are speaking to people's hearts. It's not only about going there, taking a 10 kwacha at the last minute or 20 kwacha. It's how you've related. Because people go through things, Andrew. The life, we've got funerals, we've got predicaments, we lose our loved ones, we have pressures, school fees, we have all these things. How is it that because people will even get upset that you don't just pick the phone call. They'll call you, you don't pick the phone. They'll say, Tabasu kama phone anybody. You see, so there are all those little things which you need to ensure that you are with the people all the time. And for me, that's what I've done, is just being with the people and ensure that we mitigate their issues, their challenges in a way we can. Sometimes we don't have even as Andrew, but we'll sit with them and say, how is it that we can work together? How is it that we can overcome this problem? Okay, that's it. No, I've got a 2 kwacha, I've got a 3 kwacha. No, I know someone. Let me call Andrew. Andrew, I've got this friend of mine, they are stranded in Lusaka. Okay, I'm giving them 500. Where are they? Rush there. This is how you live with the people. And this is what we've done. This is what I've done. Even the foundation is to engage the people. We've done a lot of empowerment programs to ensure that we are with the people and we change how they are living. Today, I was being told by our Reverend Lamek Goma from Bethel Mushiri UCZ, we gave them 50 chickens for the women. And he was showing me how the chickens have grown. And not even a single...
we'll get into the projects that you've done for the people of BWANA MUKUBWA later on. But let's speak about your popularity in BWANA MUKUBWA. We're told you're quite popular. Even during the primary, primaries, you did quite well. However, your popularity has been questioned a bit, that your popularity was as a result of corruption. How true are these allegations?
Andrew, first and foremost, how can you become popular today because you've given people money? It doesn't work like that. That's what I've been talking about. This is a relationship. I've got people I'm with today. I am coming with them from 2015. Okay? Some of them were at the ward. We moved with them for their elections. From ward, they've come to the constituency. Okay? We go in with them. I give them my vehicles, go and campaign. They go around the wards, they campaign to become constituency officials. Okay? Then I even help the wards to go to vote. Let's go for voting. Let's help them with transport. Let's help them with food. This is a cultivation of relationship. Then they go there and vote. Then our people, the same people from the ward, some from the same constituents, they retain their seats and they're now constituency officials. Okay? Some people claiming that they were not even there when we were having those elections. You see? But this is how far I've been with these people. So, Andrew, they can't forget you because they know where you're coming from. Some people don't pick their phone calls. I pick their phone calls whatever time. What is happening? Stranded. I'll drive to Intercity to go and see that child and put them on the bus. I call them. These are some of the relationships I've created from 2016, from 2015 up to today. So how can't I be popular to those people? Because I've worked them. I've supported the party because that's my party. I believe in the ideologies of Patriotic Front. So this is how we've been cultivating these relationships. Because it's like you join the party today. You are not known, Andrew. But it's how you interact, interact. Then now people know you. So those allegations, Andrew, they are baseless. They have no evidence. And we can't even dwell on that because I've been in the constituency more than 7 years. Honestly, people can't know me. I mourn with them. I sit with them. They can know me because, for example, Dr. Jonas, we aspired together 2016. We did the same things. 2015, we're running around in the constituencies. Well, there was Honorable Emmanuel Chenda, very selfless leader. We ran around. Me personally, I even went to Honorable Chenda. I said, I want your blessing. I'm standing. He said, go and campaign. So I have known people for this long. So it's more or less I've been married to BWANA MUKUBWA for over 7 years. People can know me. So there's no question. It's a notorious fact that people know me and I'm popular because I've been with them. I've just driven from the constituency to come for this program. So people shouldn't smear assertions or lies that there was corruption. We heard a lot of that in other constituencies, but for us in BWANA MUKUBWA, people of BWANA MUKUBWA, they know what they want, and they've put forward that which they want.
You've talked about the fact that you've been helping, you know, party officials that are campaigning for different positions. That was before even, you know, the adoption process. Maybe let me just get to read something, you know, for you. I want you to affirm or, you know, dispel these allegations. And what we're told actually is that the allegation is coming from the incumbent. That is Dr. Jonas Chanda. And so Dr. Jonas Chanda is saying that we gave out 10,000 kwacha each to 12 members of the constituency executive, and you also paid accommodation at a lodge called Fatmos in Ndola for you to be favored adoption.
That's what I'm saying, Andrew. Those are just assertions, those are allegations, baseless, and there's no evidence. That's why you've seen they haven't gone anywhere, because where there's concrete evidence, you can say you produce evidence. Then you can say this is what transpired.
Doesn't this put your name in disrepute?
No, not at all, Andrew, because...
And perhaps even, you know, decrease your chances of maybe getting the adoption certificate.
I know what I stand for, and people can bear me witness. People, BWANA, MUKUBWA, even our party structures, they know the truth. So I don't want to look like I vividly want to come out and defend myself, because if there were such allegations and they had proof, then I think some measures would have been taken. If you remember very well, when there were those allegations, when our colleague refused to be interviewed, he was compelled to go back to be interviewed. Why? And I didn't go back to the constituency to be interviewed. I proceeded, because we've got our party hierarchy and procedures and guidelines, which we follow. We've got a party constitution. And for us, those were that's mere politicking. People want to dent your name. And people of BWANA MUKUBWA are not going to allow that, because they know what they stand for and they know that what they want.
Let's talk about your empowerment program that you've been running in BWANA MUKUBWA from 2015. Let's start with the youth programs. How sustainable are the youth programs that you're currently running in BWANA MUKUBWA?
Yes, Andrew, thank you so much. We've done a couple of youth empowerment programs in BWANA MUKUBWA constituency, in my home where I come from. And not only that, we've come up with these programs out of the blues, but we've engaged the people of BWANA MUKUBWA and see, after doing our need analysis, then we look at what is it that we need to do for the youth of BWANA MUKUBWA. We looked at fish farming. We looked at block making machines, we looked at incubators, we looked at livelihood skills such as carpentry and metal fabrication. Then also our brothers who are doing car wash. So we said, let's sit as a foundation, we said, let's sit and see how we can help them. So we procured about 7 block making machines. If you look at BWANA MUKUBWA, before the delimitation of the wards and the changing of boundaries, BWANA MUKUBWA had 7 wards, now it's got 8 wards. There's a new ward called Lupili, which is split from Mushili. So we bought 7 block making machines and ensure that in each ward we empowered a youth group to start a block making machine. We also procured 7 incubators. We procured small tools as well to ensure that those who we identified in these wards were empowered. How did we come up with this, and how sustainable, like you're asking, are? If you look at...
and just when you say we, are you meaning as a party, or as you, aspiring member of parliament, or as the foundation?
As me, sometimes I did it on my own. Some of them we did it through the foundation. But mostly the vehicle we're using was the foundation. That's what I'm saying, because it's not myself alone, but that's the foundation.
Of course.
Yeah, to just clarify. So as a foundation, those are some of the things we procured to ensure that we empower our youths. Then apart from that, we also provided some capital for some of them. Those who didn't have a muscle, we said we give you some cement, we give you some quarry. Then the molding blocks. Even as we speak today, when you go to the constituency, the Signage Ready for the Future, it's a youth group in Jacaranda Villa, the molding blocks. There's Kafumotoso Cooperative, which has got over 200 plus youths, the molding blocks. We've got our youths from CAF. They've been learning fish farming because we've provided a fish pond there. We have harvested fish. Now they've put in new fingerlings. So they are learning to do some of those programs. So apart from that, we also empowered youths with incubators in which people can bring eggs, they hatch eggs, and they charge a 4-5 kwacha. They've got an income. Our mainstay to ensure that we give them livelihood skills, we give them these things they can use to generate revenue is because we didn't want to start giving people money, because people, they'll misuse the money. But if you give me a block making machine, you give me cement, I'll mold blocks, I'll sell, I'll go and buy quarry, I'll make more blocks. Then we start. Now, our group now goes there to...
block making machines are not given to an individual youth, they're given to a group of youths.
Yes.
Of how many?
Of 30, 20, from 20 to 30. That's the minimum.
Approximately how many youths would you confidently say that as a foundation and as Chisha Mwambazi in BWANA MUKUBWA we've empowered this many number of youths?
We've empowered over 1,500 plus youths in a block making machine. We've empowered maybe about 300 to 400 on fish farming. Then on incubators, we've empowered more than 200 youths. Then there are also other youths who came with their own avenue to say, as we do charcoal at the market, then how much we buy a bag at 60 kwacha from the bush transported to the market in Mushili. Okay, we say for you, we are going to go in and procure 30 bags of charcoal. So there are different avenues, but we've gone further to ensure that we empower a maximum number of youths. And our empowerment programs, usually we're running quarterly. Even as we speak, we've got pending lists to empower, but we're told not to do a lot of programs until the adoption process is completed and is finished. So it's not only that we are ending now here. We've got, I think, over 50 to 60 groups. We are youths as well as women who are waiting for.
Of course, I was coming to women. I don't know for a fact that you're supposed to wait up until the adoption process is done for you to continue. But are there any projects that you've worked with the women thus far in BWANA MUKUBWA?
Yes, of course. We've given over 4,000 to 5,000 village chicken layers to the women in BWANA MUKUBWA in all the constituencies. And we've also empowered them with feed so that some of them, their chickens are now laying eggs. Some of the groups we've also, those who've performed very well, we've given them incubators as well to ensure that they can hatch the eggs. Because this, Andrew, is a person, we call it a person program. When you are 30 women, we give you 50 chickens, okay? They grow, you are contributing feed, we give them starter, they'll buy, grow, and finisher. Then we give them an incubator. When they incubate the eggs, they hatch, say, 100 chicks. Then they share amongst themselves. Then the group start to disintegrate. They start sharing because our role is to ensure that each lady or woman in the constituency, they've got their own outfit. Maybe they've got 50 chickens that are picking eggs they can take for hatching, and they can sell the chicks. They can sell also eggs as well. Because our projection is by 2025, we want to ensure that BWANA MUKUBWA are the major producers of those broiler village chicken layers. So our programs, even as we speak now, these women, they keep passing on to the next woman, until that group now of 30 or 20 is finished. Everyone has got 10, 15. We don't want to empower a woman with one chicken because they won't eat it, Andrew. We want to ensure that first they learn the skill in the group, okay, and they're being monitored. Then from there now, they can have their own outfit. They have learned, they have the discipline, they've been taken because what we do also, we do lessons before we give them the chickens.
So the foundation is the one that gets to offer the lessons?
Yes, we bring the experts from Ministry of Livestock, from other places, consultants, they come and teach them. We'll have a one-day seminar from morning until evening. We teach them the basics and things like that. Even as they go around to see how they are doing, So this is how it's done. Apart from still dwelling on the women, apart from the village chicken layers as well, we've done our market empowerment program, which we started. We haven't completed because we were told to hold on. We launched the 200,000 market empowerment programs, targeting the women, especially with the effects of COVID-19 pandemic. We wanted to ensure that we top up on their capital, because people lost businesses, small businesses were folding. So you find a lady sells three boxes of tomato in Kansengu market, then they eventually fold their business. So we're putting up on what they have. If they are selling one box, we add on a capital to buy 2 boxes. These programs, we also targeted women. We did. I understand,
Mr. Mwambazi, that these are, revolving empowerment programs that you're currently running.
Yes.
How do you monitor success, in all these programs? How do you ensure that, yes, the people that you've given block making machines, the people you've given incubators, the success, journey is there? How do you monitor as a foundation and as Warren Mwambazi?
What we do, Mwansa, basically is we've got committees, we've got guys who are in charge with the youths, we've got through administration guys who are in charge of the women. Then we go around to check how they are doing. Okay? So, for instance, we've got a Chine women group from the Catholic Church in Mushili, St. Peter's. We know where they are rearing chickens. So we'll tell them next week we are coming to come and see how you are keeping the chickens. They'll go with our guys who are our consultants, our technical, who know about chickens. Then they'll go and say, okay, this is the stage, this is where we've reached, how many do you have mortality? Then they come and report back. We sit and have a meeting. This group is not doing well. This, we've got 35 chickens remaining. There was this disease. They don't know very well. We need to help them in this vein. So this is what helps us. We've got more or less our monitoring and evaluation committee, which goes. For the markets, it's actually very easy because we've got market committees. And these market committees, we've created forms. When we're giving these loans, they sign those forms on the repayment conditions, as well as when we're giving 1,000, someone needs to pay 100 kwacha. Okay? When we give them the loan of 1,000 kwacha. Then that money is revolved and paid to the next person. Then our guys, they go around these markets and sit with the committees and see how the repayment programs are working. And if the other women who are failing, struggling, and they are pushed to say, okay, now we're giving you extra 2 weeks, extra 1 week to ensure that they pay back the money and their neighbors can also benefit. So basically, in a nutshell, we've got our monitoring and evaluation committee, which goes around to check all our programs and projects we are doing. Apart from those programs and projects we are doing with the churches, because the churches, like I can cite, for example, we are building a 1x3 classroom at the Church of Christ in Mushili. That one is easy because we just go to the church leadership. We see they tell us, okay, this is, we need more cement, we need more this, more blocks, and we're able to see vividly when we visit them how the project is moving. So for those ones are easy because even in churches, there's a good accountability as compared to other places. So this is how we do our monitoring to some of these empowerment programs. And I can report to you in my submission that they are working very well because, like I said earlier, even the Reverend from Bethel was confirming with me today how the chickens we gave them through our church empowerment program is doing well. And this is almost the last phase of the chickens we're giving, not the earlier ones. And now they're already laying eggs. So for us, that's what motivates us to ensure that we go back in the communities and we give them much more.
I'll be inviting calls to come through via the number that is scrolling on the screen. I do know for a fact that the number of people that want to speak to you, Mr. Mwambazi, we're looking at who will grab BWANA MUKUBWA. My guest tonight is PF aspirant candidate for BWANA MUKUBWA constituency, Warren Chisha Mwambazi. And so come through and give us your comments and contributions via the number that is scrolling on your screen. So let me pick my first call up for tonight. Hello, good evening. Who is on the line and where are you calling us from?
Good evening. I'm calling from Osaka. My name is Tembo.
Yes, Mr. Tembo.
Yes. To the gentleman being interviewed, yes. You know, these are programs which most of the political parties do when it is time for election. These guys, they were nowhere to be seen during the past 5 years. It's always the same story, cheating people, because all they want is to get into power. You know, I mean, as Zambians, we are sick and tired of people just wanting, to have political power and do nothing for this country. 56 years we've been independent. We cannot even produce a pin. And yet, the only thing that they can tell us, is pointing at the roads. The roads which have got no potholes now. When you move on some of these roads, they are a danger to motorists. And yet, these are the people, when they go into politics, they become rich and they become arrogant. We are sick and tired of this. And, none of them is able to stand for any poor Zambian out there. Go out in most of these compounds in the cities, see how poor people have become. They cannot even have a meal a day. And yet, even the other people who may be living in some of these homes, you will find that, now when they go to ShopRite there, the prices are increasing every day. And, none of the politicians is able to stand up to say, okay, this is a thing that we are going to do so that, we can make it bearable for the people. None of them, including from the president to whoever it is. This is the kind of rubbish that, we don't like. Keep on every time, cheating us. When it comes to the time of the election, you start giving out chickens. How many people have you given chickens? Can you give chickens to all the Zambians for them to be able to feed on them and survive?
Right.
Let's be serious.
Thanks, Mr. Temple, for coming through. All right, let me pick some more calls so that you, Mr. Warren Mwambazi, can collectively respond to them. I hope you're taking note of some of the concerns that are coming from the people of Zambia. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening. Who's on the line and where are you calling us from?
Good evening, Andrew. Good evening, Honorable Mwambazi.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Okay, my name is Mlonda. I'm calling from Ndola, BWANA constituency.
Thank you, Mr. Mlonda. He's our PTA chairperson.
I may not be the TF member, but being a resident of BWANA constituency, yes, I agree with you that you are very much on the ground. Because everywhere where you go, your name is mentioned. Groups, women, marketeers, schools, whatever. Yes, you are doing something on the ground. But equally, the incumbent also has done a great in the form of hospitals, education, whatever, including security. In my judgment, yes, the one who has so far from the time we started having an MPPA, is the one who has done the much. Now, my question is, there were those accusations of bribery, corruption, whatever, and there was the talk of those being cancelled, being announced. Is this true that you did that, and then this qualified those products that action to be announced, or they will still based on those very interviews? Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming through, sir. Yeah, there's a caller from Undola in BWANA. Let's get to pick more calls and see what the people, especially those, I would appreciate if those from BWANA, are the ones to call so that, they can speak to some of the issues that BWANA is passing through and how he intends to tackle them. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Who's on the line and where are you calling us from?
This is Mr. T from Lusaka.
Mr. T from Lusaka, please go on with your contribution, sir.
Honorable Mwambazi, how are you?
Fine, Mr. T. How are you, sir?
Yeah, you are the man. I just want to encourage you. You see, people that show up during the time of elections, like that other man was alleging you, you can tell the way they talk, but the way you are talking yourself, you are speaking not from any paper where you are reading. Things are very clear. You know what you've been doing on the ground, and from the way you are speaking, you are connected to what you're talking about. So you are the man that BWANA MUKUBWA needs. We don't need people that just talk for the sake of getting votes. We want people that have been relating with the community, the way you've articulated. So you must be the man that is supposed to be put. So if PF knows what is important for them, they must be able to give you a chance there and go and execute those things so that people can actually be uplifted. We want people that are practical. Everything you've articulated is entrepreneurship. When I was listening to you, I was even thinking, why don't we just get rid of the Minister of Religious Affairs and create a Minister of Entrepreneurship and Enterprises so that people can be empowered and we create more businesses. That way we create more jobs than actually we would want to rely on investors who are limited in terms of what they can invest in here in Zambia. So I just want to encourage you, Honorable Mwambazi, go for it. I have been following this program. You've articulated yourself very well, and from what you're speaking, you are close to what you're talking about. You've been doing those things, and that's why you're very clear in what you're talking about. So all the best, and God bless you and make a way for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. T. All right, let me just pick two more calls as a first bunch of calls, then collectively you can respond to them. Mr. Warren, Chisha Mwambazi. The number is 0764 250055. That's the number that you're coming through and giving us your calls, your contributions. We're looking at who will grab BWANA MUKUBWA constituency. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Who's on the line and where are you calling us from?
This is Mr. M calling from Lusaka.
Mr. M from within Lusaka. Please go on with your contribution, Mr. M.
Yes, my contribution is like this. Let me use Bemba.
M coin.
Mr. M.
I went to the same window. Mwambazi, if you touch your Mulilanda, Ningu sana, you are a man. Mulilondola wino sana, if you touch your Fiagwa. Manje, Ukusakamana Pandi, Nara maybe fishing car, bring a little day on farm, little day mona. Mwari Minina, Parung Party. Mwari Mina Parung Party by Mwambazi. Bring a little Mulilondola, if you Chitika. But if a party air Muipaika, because the single thing to see Arubana countrywide, when anything was a weather, when it is of Yarubana, who will when any other future Corona, our future Corona, they can make a map when I was actually so I think they could have taken Dana. Sorry for that. How we mean a very long party. The problem is that I mean a party, but if to figure out. Thank you.
So let me just pick one more call, and then Mr. Mwambazi, you can respond to them as they come. Hope my director is ready for messages as well upstairs there. If maybe we can get some messages that are coming through from our Facebook page. Hello. Hello. Good evening. Hello. Good evening. Hello. Good evening. Ensure that you reduce the volume on your TV set when you call us so that we don't get to receive feedback. And so, or completely just turn off your TV as you call us. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Who's on the line and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from within Lusaka, Mr. Himakanta calling you.
Mr. Himakanta, please go on with your contribution. Speak to Mr. Mwambazi.
Yeah. I would like to ask you that man, if he's a genuine man.
Okay.
Before the parliament is dissolved, we want to know who was guarding the people of Zambia.
Okay. But Mr. Mwambazi is aspiring member of parliament for BWANA MUKUBWA.
Under which ticket?
Under the Patriotic Front.
Yeah. He's going there with a very bad record of the party. So he should tell us, or if him is a genuine member, he should also demand clarity on the people who are gassing in our country.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, for now, let me just turn off my phone so that you could respond to some of the questions that have come through. Quite a number of concerns that the people of Zambia are raising. Your quick response to some of them.
Thank you, Andrew. First and foremost, there's the first question from a Mr. Tembo in Lusaka. First, what I would, my comment and my response to Mr. Tembo is probably he doesn't know. I don't know where he's living, if he's living in Zambia, because first and foremost, Andrew, there is no government from 1964 up to date, if you compare to the PF in terms of infrastructure development. We can all attest to that they've done well, and we should be very sincere people and pat them on the back, that they've done well in such a sector. You see, what the problem we have with some of our Zambian people is armchair critics. They can't even say good when they've seen good. It's very important to be sincere, Andrew. And for me, the politics I do, I have to be sincere. So Mr. Tembo, if he's listening, he shouldn't be lying to the people. First and foremost, even the Bible says the poor will always have. It doesn't say, even when you go to America, I've been to the US, I've been to China, you find beggars there. And what is portrayed outside here is different. So it shouldn't give assumptions like people are suffering now. Even in 1964, even in colonial time, people are still suffering. But we are not saying that is the trajectory of our party. Our party has got a roadmap, and they only make the environment to be enabling, conducive, that people can do business. That's what is done. No one is going to come to your doorstep once, Andrew, and say, here's a contract. You have to supply tissue there at that government office. You have to move to go to the office. You have to register your company. And the government, they've come up with a fast-track registration of companies through PACRA and all those things to ensure that you can even have you can become a sole trader. You can have all these small companies and you can supply something. So it's how much effort you also to put in, because people sometimes are lazy, and we should face it. They sit down there and complain and they can't do nothing. Okay? Then you can't come and blame a politician to say, politician, they enrich themselves, they are liars, they do these things. When you are seated like Mr. Tembo, people should be proactive. Okay? You can't just...
Perhaps it's because of the many promises that you promised them before you get to office. For example, your party promised the people of Zambia to be a pro-poor government, promised the people of Zambia to ensure that they'll have more money in their pockets, promised the people of Zambia to create more jobs, which the people of Zambia, Mr. Mwambazi, are not seeing. To couple that with, many people are saying that, look, you're quite popular, Mr. Mwambazi, but the party that you are going to contest on has fallen from grace because the PF hasn't done quite good.
Andrew, those are just assertions people, some people, a very small section of the society are making. If you look, I'll give you a practical example. You are doing this road, the greatest road, flyover bridge, okay? For you to do such a magnitude, you need people to work there. You need subcontractors. People are employed. You are doing a district hospital. You are doing a university. If you look at people who are being, even today, nurses are being employed. Teachers are being, there's a teacher thing running, are being employed. That is employment. What do they want the government to do? That's employment, Mwanza. If we even Google now, go to Central Statistics, we look at the trajectory, we look at unemployment levels from 3 years ago, we can see the reduction, even if it's a small fraction, but there's a movement. So people ought to read and check. That's why I'm commenting like this on Mr. Tembo. Mr. Tembo, it sounds is a person who can read. He should do more research and see. If you move around Lusaka, if you go to Mongu, I used to be an auditor. I used to travel. You go to Mongu, look at the roads. Gentlemen, let's learn to appreciate. Where people are failing, let's caution them. That is politics, and then they can improve on that. We have a listening government, they can improve on that. It's not everything that can be done at once, Andrew, but as we move, there's a roadmap. Certain things are achieved, even in a home. Thus, if we are building, we are sacrificing. If we finish, we are living in luxury. Now we start to look at other things which we need to have. Secondly, there's Mr. Mlonda from BWANA MUKUBWA. I think he's a bit behind because I've already explained about those questions you asked me. I think I've already explained. He's said I'm on the ground, I'm popular. The incumbent has done some projects as well. Those projects everyone can do, Mwansa. It's a notorious fact. Those are CDF-funded programs. They're not personal. They're not a personal strategic plan like some of us have done. If Mwanza, you became an MP for Lusaka Central, they'll give you CDF fund. Looking at how big your area is, maybe to be a 1.4 million kwacha, then you sit with the community and say, what is it that you want? So people people should look at the difference between government-funded programs. Even you, when you are there, we give you CDF. You are going to make a police post. You are going to do a bridge. You are going to do what? But apart from that, what is it that you've done as a person? How have you engaged the people? How have you helped the people through? We've seen some of the things which are being constructed in these CDF funds, which are even breaking down, which are even not certified by engineers. So for me, I think it's very, very important that we differentiate national development programs. If the government brings a road in my constituency, I've lobbied for it. I haven't brought the road. It's your taxpayers' money. The same people of BWANA MUKUBWA, the money they pay for VAT, the taxes they pay when they are paying income tax, pay as you, and it's the same money that their road is being constructed. So people should dissect and differentiate. A road which is being done, as we speak now, some roads are being done. They were done 3 years ago from the same monies we pay as taxes collected by ZRA.
But you are warning Mr. Tembo to be appreciative because government has done all these roads.
Yes.
When government also uses taxpayers' money to carry out projects.
That's why you should appreciate, because you can't come and give an assertion.
And so when
that
Mr. M is appreciating Dr. Jonas Chanda, don't say that these are projects that anyone can do.
Andrew, it's a notorious fact. These roads can be done. You only need to lobby and say, I need this cake. But what Mr. Tembo was saying was that we've got portals. They're just showing us roads. People are suffering. Does he want government to start paying people for sitting at home? No. People should work. People should be innovative. People should be entrepreneurs. The government only makes a environment conducive. We have a road coming from the farms. People can ferry their goods from the farms to city market quicker. They are making the environment conducive for them to conduct business.
Do you think people of BWANA MUKUBWA are happy with the current government?
Yes, the people of BWANA MUKUBWA are happy with the current government because they've seen what the government has done. However, there are people who haven't performed as leaders in those certain constituencies and who can't garner votes which we need.
All right. I'm told that some messages that have come through. If quickly we can look at some of the messages, Director will appreciate. Alan Chimbimbi says, why are you standing for BWANA MUKUBWA constituency while there is Dr. Chanda? Shed more light on this one. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Alan, for coming through with that message. Shawnee Siapaka says, what is the grace period when the Parliament will be closed? All right, thank you so much, Mr. Siapaka, for coming through. Jackson Nyerongo says, we in BWANA MUKUBWA, we love you. You are sellable. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nyerongo.
See, they love me.
Regan Mwamba says, this man is perfect for the job. We love you here in BWANA MUKUBWA. Keep it up. All right, thanks for coming through. Sydney Phillips Chisala says, the economy is bad. Listen to the first caller. He has poured all his frustration on him. So the first caller, Mr. Tembo, is putting the frustration of what is termed as a failure of the PF. Thank you, Mr. T. You have spoken for us, people of BWANA MUKUBWA. All right, Chandre Damales, thank you so much for coming through. David Chris C. Ketchloff says, the best, Warren, good candidate, standing on the wrong party at the wrong time. Economic situation is bad. A hungry voter is an angry voter. All right, thank you so much, Chilufia, for coming through. Victor Mwetela says, you stood on the wrong party, Mr. Warren. It's time up for that party. All right, it seems people... I've been consistent on one particular point, that you're a good candidate, all right? But the party you are contesting on is the wrong party, Mr. Mwambazi. These are the people that are speaking, not me. People are saying you're contesting on the wrong party.
Andrew, I respect their sentiment, but all I can say is that I respect more sentiments of people of BWANA MUKUBWA than people, mostly of these other people of code. I think 2 callers are from Lusaka, and they don't know how we are sitting in the Copper Belt. But for me, I believe in the ideologies of Patriotic Front. That's my party, and I'm going to propel and push the agenda of His Excellency, the President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, to ensure that that roadmap which he has for this country, it can be unfolded in this coming next 5 years according to our manifesto of the Patriotic Front. That is what we believe in. If those people believe in other parties which they feel are correct parties, let them participate. But as for me, this is what I believe in, and this is what I'll move with, and this is what I'll go with to ensure.
What happens, in the first few days that are coming, and you're not adopted on the PF ticket as Member of Parliament for BWANA MUKUBWA? What happens to your political career?
Andrew, I was not adopted in 2016. I supported and I continued. I'll continue because to support the party. There are so many opportunities in our party, and we'll see in which other capacity we can say. But what's important...
Will you support Dr. Jonas Chanda if you're not adopted?
Of course, I supported him in 2016. I vividly campaigned for him. So for me, I think what's bigger is a party and not an individual. So if they give...
What will it mean for you if you're not adopted? Because clearly what we're getting is that you're very popular in BWANA MUKUBWA, and it will be total unfairness if you're not adopted. What will it mean for you if you're not adopted?
Andrew, I've done what is humanly possible, and I leave the rest to our supreme organ, which is a central committee, to decide on my fate. And all I can say is whatever the outcome, I think for me is to continue to support the party and His Excellency, the President, to ensure that we win this election come August 12. We continue as PF to ensure that we save the people of Zambia and continue with our developmental program and agenda for this country.
Mr. Warren Chisha Mwambazi, thank you so much for having made time to appear on this very special edition of the assignment. I wish you all the best ahead of your political journey as PF and as you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I'm grateful that you hosted me again. I think this is the second time. And viewers out there, we're grateful for your support, especially people from BWANA MUKUBWA. Our fate is in the hands of the Central Committee, the Supreme Organ. Let's wait for Wednesday and see what comes out of there, and then we move forward and continue to support His Excellency, the President, of our mighty Patriotic Front. I thank you and God bless you.
There you have it. I've been speaking to Chisha Warren Mwambazi, PF aspiring Member of Parliament for BWANA MUKUBWA constituency. I've been your host. My name is Andrew Monson. On behalf of my producer, Mavuto Piri, for now, good night. God bless Zambia. God bless Africa.